Cinderella is more or less the same story that we know for the first half of the movie. And then, of course, the second half is when all the characters have to come face to face with the consequences of their actions. Um, and you know, there's that line, wishes come true, not free. And that's sort of what all these characters discover. And that's what, that's when, Sondheim's version of Cinderella becomes really interesting, because you get to see who she is beyond the fairy tale that we know and love. I think across the board, everybody was just feeling like, how did I sneak into this cast? Like, just feeling so lucky to be there. And, and somehow miraculously not intimidated, because everybody is so warm, and frankly everyone was so committed to doing the work that it felt like we're on a team and we have the same goal. And that sort of was this great equalizer for all of us. It's sort of all the fairy tales, more or less as you know them, intersecting and sort of creating some degree of chaos in the woods. And then, once they've sort of come to the conclusion that you know and love, just sort of what happens after happily ever after. And yeah, that happens to all the fairy tales. I certainly get the sense that it's like more about the fact that you can't navigate the unknown. You can't, like, if you walked a path the next day, like, something would be different and you'd get lost along the way. But that's because the woods are about being courageous and traveling into something that you're afraid of. Every character has something that they need, and the woods sort of represent the way to what they need, but also the fear of what that path will actually lead to. And so there's a certain amount of courage it takes for each of these characters to venture into the proverbial and literal woods. And of course, for Cinderella specifically, it means something very special, because that's where her mother's grave is. And so that's where she goes to make her wish and ask for help. And it, which of course is really beautiful, because her mother keeps asking her, are you sure this is what you want? And like with so many people in so many situations, it's yes, 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 I'm absolutely sure, until you get the thing that you want. And and then you actually have to make a decision. Each of these characters gets what they want, and then there are unforeseen consequences to all of those things happening. But they've all learned something about themselves and about the world. And so none of it is wasted, and none of it, you can't look at anything and go, it shouldn't have happened. And even though all the characters question that themselves, that they shouldn't have done what they did, it's about just life moving forward, and learning everything you can from every situation. The idea that wishes come true, not free, is not saying that you shouldn't go after what you want and that they aren't beautiful, and that your dreams don't come true, but just that things change and things are different, and you have a different set of problems when you get what you want sometimes. Rob is just the warmest. I mean, it feels so cliche, because this is what everybody says about him, but it's true. He's just so giving and generous and warm. And yeah, he's an incredibly emotional director, so it just creates a really kind of balanced environment. It's not like someone just expects his actors to be able to just give and give. He gives so much to you that it makes your job incredibly easy. he updated it to be in the present tense, which for people like me who knew the song well, it's like a little bit of a weird thing to wrap your brain around when you're used to the other lyrics. But it was great to be, well, great and terrifying to be in the recording studio and have Steve and Sondheim just kind of knock on the door in between takes and hand you like freshly scribbled new lyrics to Steps of the Palace. It felt like, Jesus, like history's being made here. You're writing new lyrics for the movie version of Into the Woods, and I'm just singing them. I don't know what's happening right now. This is incredible. Nice is different than good is such a great line, and it's a theme that is sort of recurring. And in Last Midnight, you're so nice. You're not good. You're not bad. You're just nice. And yeah, it's sort of about everybody thinks of themselves as the good guy, and we just want what we want, and when we get it, great, I'm a good guy. But you can be a good guy, but it doesn't mean that you're not capable of hurting people or getting other people hurt. And yeah, it's like you can live as well and as honestly as you can, but no matter what, people's desires get in the way of each other's. And so that's sort of what all of these characters have to reckon with, is the idea that they self-identify as the hero and the good guy. But yeah, but being nice doesn't mean that everything's going well for everybody else.